My name is Deborah Chauvin, and I'm basically from the Ninth Ward. I grew up streets on St. Claude and Franklin and North Rampart near the Bywater section. And I went to school in Colton and Nichols.
My name is Sharon Marie Hatfield. I'm 15 years old. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the Third Ward, which is the streets of Galvez, Miro Third, you know, like that. I went to John W. Hoffman Elementary.
My name is Clive Hardy, and I grew up in the Garden District. My family lived there. It wasn't an old Garden District family. They'd only been in New Orleans about 100 years. My grandfather having come from Germany in the 1880s.
I'm Robert Sonny Vaucresson, a native Orleanian. I was born and raised here in New Orleans in the 7th Ward. I attended all schools of the Sisters of the Blessed Sacrament. We attended schools at Corpus Christi.
In a big, diverse city like New Orleans, there are many accents. Like a detective, you can listen to someone's dialect for clues to their identity, like what part of town they're from, how much money they make, or what racial or ethnic group they belong to.
There are a number of different dialects in the area, and there are all shades between them. I think the three major ones certainly are the downtown white, what is often called the Yat dialect, the uptown white, the upper class, upper educated Southern speech, and the black dialect. But these shade into one another, and there are many features that they have in common.
I had a disastrous dove hunt last week, though. Went to the north part of the state. Thought we were going to do very well and didn't fire my gun, but that's averaging with my usual fishing trips. I've taken 5 fishing trips recently, and I've averaged less than 1 fish per trip, so that shows you what an expert fisherman I am.
The best way to identify, I think, uptown dialects is really by neighborhoods, which is what this is all about. And I think there's a distinct university section accent, there's a Carrollton accent, then you mosey down to the Garden District, stopping off perhaps at St. Stephen's Playground, that area around Camp Street. I think that it really depends a lot on locale, and it's really something that you, like a fingerprint, that I really think you don't have to be Henry Higgins or Higgins to decide.
I had an aunt that lived at 1313 First Street, which is just 1 block away from, that was Frank Strong's home, which was Jefferson Davis's old home, and I just don't think that the people in the Garden District have any accent.
I don't think that uptowners are aware that they have an accent at all, because they think that they are the true New Orleanians, and the way they talk is the way that New Orleanians talk, and that everybody else has a funny accent, and they all find it very amusing. Like, oh, I heard this woman from the 9th Ward, and they take their guests who come to see the architecture and the food, and it's sort of like, let's go somewhere and you can hear some of these people talk. Isn't this exciting? In the Irish Channel accent and the black accent, they find it amusing because it's sort of foreign.
Someone that stays up around Audubon Park or around the Garden District, you know, they talk totally different than someone that stays across the canal, way down in the lower 9th Ward. You can tell in different parts of the city.
Our ears seem to pick up these accents automatically, and we're quick to form impressions and make judgments of people every time they open their mouths.
They have this like proper slang to words that they say, because I was on Tulane's campus the other day, and I was listening to this little chick talk. Well, she was white, and she's like preppy, and everything is like, wow, man, and really, you can tell it's a big difference. Golly, yeah. Like, how much money do your parents have?
Most people know they don't speak the King's English, but they can always point to people they think speak even worse. If you don't talk what's called standard middle-class English, you might run into problems. In New Orleans, this could happen if you speak a black dialect, or if you talk the famous Brooklynese of the older city neighborhoods, the so-called Yat talk.
The problems that a non-standard speaker faces in dealing with the outside world is primarily one of economics, and that is speaking a non-standard dialect automatically makes one ineligible for employment in certain areas, because unfortunately speaking a non-standard dialect is frequently interpreted as being lacking in intelligence and lacking in education. And of course, this isn't always true.
There are people that work in our office that greet people, and we were just talking about that. They have this yatty type dialect, whatever, and we were talking about how it's a bad impression when people first enter in our office.
I know how we talk. We kind of, I wouldn't necessarily say slur our words, but we don't, enunciate and pronounce our words. When I want to talk proper, I will. If there's somebody I have to impress or, let go of my yatism, which is, the yat, where you at, yatism, yat power, and so to speak.
If you speak one of these non-standard dialects, you usually know it. But how do you feel when someone points out that there's something wrong with the way you talk?
Yes, I do, because it's ignorant. It sounds ignorant. Oh, come on, listen to this shit. These people hear this stuff, they're going to say, what the hell's coming that garbage out there, damn?
That's it, right there. You see, that's it, right there.
That's going to happen. They're going to hear this and they say, look at them two beautiful girls. If they'd shut their mouths, it'd be great. My girlfriend...
I've heard that so many times.
My girlfriend Rhoda...
Oh, everybody tells us that.
My girlfriend Rhoda tells me that.
If you would keep your mouth shut, you'd be perfect.
Once
they hear that,
it's like,
go through it in and out of you.